Greetings and welcome to Powering India's Tomorrow. Thank you so much for all the love, all the excitement around this series. Your questions are now starting to pour in like a flood. This is why I'm planning to do a special all your questions about 5G answered soon right here on this series. So do send in more of your questions. I'll try and answer them all. Now today is a very interesting show. Till now, most of our focus about 5G and its impact has been about end users and customers and consumers. But there's also going to be a massive impact on enterprise, huge in fact. It could be the manufacturing sector, ports, mining, even the automotive sector. 5G is enabling these industries to digitalize very rapidly across the globe. 5G represents a huge opportunity for Indian industry too. And my guest today is Nadine Allen, Head of Enterprise Business at Ericsson. Thank you so much for joining me on the show, Nadine. This is getting to be a really fantastic journey, a fantastic series. So I'm really happy to have you here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
We'll start off with the first one. What are the factors that are driving industries to digitalize?
Yeah, well, there's a great question. And I think, when we look at enterprises, we really do see some very clear trends. I mean, we see, for example, that there is a growing demand for high speed. We really see a growing demand for security, particularly in what we would describe as being industrial applications. We're really seeing now a strong growth in the ecosystem around Industry 4.0, which is really helping all of this to come together. And of course, we're seeing this big shift in innovation, which is moving from the core to the edge. But I think one of the other things that most enterprises are really seeking to do is to converge their IT, their OT, and their CT environments, as we call it, so operational technology, communication technology, and information technology, for unified operations, so they can really bring their organizations together in a much more holistic way, end to end, and leverage things across their organizations end to end in a much stronger way than they have done in the past. And I would also say that the other thing we are seeing is that, we've conducted quite a few studies now on where industries are with regards to digitalization, and it won't be any surprise to you that it's obviously a top priority for business. And we actually see that, nearly 75% of IT decision makers in enterprises find digitalization either very important or crucial to the future of their business. And in some kind of 60% already have quite clear plans for what to do. And I would say half of them are also well underway in implementing their current plans.
Nadine, that is really interesting and very exciting. But what are the industry expectations when it comes to deploying 5G for their digitalization?
Yeah. The first is that, industries want what we would describe as industry grade solutions. And the way that I like to characterize that is that we provide solutions that acknowledge the specific needs of these industries. So if you're working with an oil and gas company, you're working with an automotive company, you're working with an energy company, you're working with a public safety organization or a manufacturing organization, they all have their own unique needs and they all have their own, fairly mission critical requirements, should I say, or things that are incredibly important to the business from a performance perspective. So it's important that solutions take that into account. They're not going to deal with a vanilla connectivity solution, and quite right too. Um, the other important area, and an area where 5G becomes really quite relevant, is, they want solutions with a very high level of data security. And I guess they probably don't really need to elaborate on that answer too much when we look at all of the things that surround us. But that is increasingly important and is an area where we really see all enterprises are investing more in when it comes to the spend, their own spend on improving the resilience and the performance of their business. The third area is that they want things to be pretty straightforward. I mean, I guess we all want things to be fairly straightforward, but when it comes to technology deployment, they want ease of configuration and ease of maintenance, and they want scalable solutions. They also want, in terms of scalable solutions, solutions that can scale globally. So if you're dealing with an organization, much like Ericsson, where we're present in pretty much nearly every country in the world, there are also a lot of other multinational conglomerates that have a similar footprint, and they want solutions, therefore, that can go global and that can scale globally.
Wow, so this is an exciting phase for all of us. I can't wait for all this to happen. Nadine, how will 5G support industry digitalization?
Yeah, well, 5G as obviously a cellular connectivity is really fundamental to the enablement of new use cases. That's where we see the most exciting and promising potential. So, cellular connectivity enables digitalization by connecting things such as wireless sensors, cameras, drones, etc. And all of these things are input to digital models and, subsequent artificial intelligence analysis. So when we bring in 5G and cellular connectivity, industries can really take full advantage of remote control and automation throughout the whole production process. And the use cases and the connectivity solutions that power them can really be applied in a variety of key industries and also be customized and tailored to the specific needs, contexts, and goals of enterprises in these different industries.
Nadine, let's get down to the brass tacks of it all. It's always interesting to talk about use cases because that's how we really understand future technology. What are the enterprise use cases that you see emerging based on your global 5G deployment?
Let me give you a few examples of real life deployments that we've seen that I really think start to bring this whole thing to life. Let's look at mining. So, Telia in Sweden are going to build and manage a dedicated local 5G ready mobile network for this mining company called Boliden at Aitik, which is the world's most efficient open pit copper mine located in the north of Sweden. And you can imagine once you can remotely look at a mine and aim to control that mine from remote, your possibilities become very endless. So we see a number of, mining we see as being a really important segment that can benefit from cellular technologies. Um, Ports, for example, we have done quite a bit with a number of ports, leading ports, but also a recent example in the UK is that BT is providing wireless connectivity for Belfast Harbour. Um, in the manufacturing segment, I think there's been a really exciting development between Telefonica, Ericsson, and Mercedes-Benz, who are building the world's first 5G mobile network for automobile production in Germany, for car production in Germany. And this factory, it's called Factory 56, but it's basically what's been designed here using cellular technology is the blueprint for all future vehicle assembly facilities that Mercedes-Benz will use around the world. And cellular has really given them a lot of flexibility on the factory floor because when you cut the cables, you can reconfigure those environments much quicker and much more flexibly than we have been able to do with previous generations of wired technology. I would also say that we've done quite a little bit ourselves internally. We have a 5G smart factory in Texas. This has been recognized by the World Economic Forum as a global front runner in the fourth industrial revolution. And we basically have deployed next generation technology at the site. And its impact, more importantly, is that we have given an output per employee of 2.2 times improved output per employee when we compare with a similar site without the automation and improvements from a technology advancement point of view. So we're already starting to be able to put monetization and tangible benefits on some of these deployments as well.
Wow, this is really the future, right? Now, what is the addressable market potential of 5G digitalization for enterprises globally and in India?
When we look at India, we basically are estimating that 5G enabled B2B opportunity for Indian operators could be 17 billion USD by 2030. And 5G is, of course, going to help mobile operators if we achieve this to achieve an incremental revenue growth of 48%. So there really is some pretty good upside in all of this if we work hard and we realize the full potential.
So then, Nadine, this seems to be a fantastic opportunity for all industries to really get going with 5G. Okay, Nadine, to conclude, what would you say to industries looking to digitalize?
Yeah. Well, I think, I mean, the benefits of digitalization are really, really key. As I mentioned before, enterprises being able to bring together IT, OT, and CT environments and orchestrate all of the assets across their organization by creating that harmoniously, not only on their own premise, but also with either remote environments or external capabilities, so employees at home or employees on the move, really has a lot of future potential and benefit. And the value of 5G really does lie beyond speed and latency. As I've already mentioned, security, reliability, and flexibility are really critical for any digitalization. When I talked about the Mercedes-Benz example, when they cut the cables, they give themselves much more flexibility in the way in which they run their production environment. So in this new era of mobility, um, enterprise digitalization with globally scalable 5G, including a transformation towards Industry 4.0, really has the potential to deliver a lot of value to enterprises. And I would say to enterprises, you don't need to wait for 5G. Actually, you can start on the digitalization journey already with 4G, but it is important to anticipate the additional benefits and capabilities that will come with 5G. And in fact, the possibilities that we see with IoT, for example, 4G and 5G will not only put enterprises on a fast track to meet the demands of the new world, but the other key element is that enterprises will be able to contribute to the socio-economic development of India and all of the greater kind of causes that we all need to contribute to when it comes to developing a really good, positive future for India and the rest of the world.
Excellent, Nadine. This has been an absolute eye-opener. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope I get to talk to you again very soon. And I hope you come to India soon when we have the 5G deployment happening. And thank you everyone for watching this series. It's becoming a really interesting series. I'm getting super educated. I'm sure you are too. Do remember, I'm waiting for all your questions. I want to do all your questions about 5G answered as a special series episode right here. Put all your questions out there on my social media platforms, wherever you're following me or are with me, and I promise to answer all of them. See you next week.